As usual, the long workday was coming to an end, and I was putting the last load of laundered clothes away in our bedroom when I heard a ruckus on the baby monitor just a few feet away from me. I thought it was strange when I knew my husband and toddler were both in the living room quietly watching TV as my 2-year-old drifted silently off to sleep, curled in my husband's lap as he caught the evening news. The bedroom door was straight in front of me, and I could see all the way down the hall to my husband and son in the lazy-boy chair as this ruckus over the monitor continued. It didn't take long for me to realize the sounds were very familiar. Earlier in the day, I was in my toddler's bedroom putting a load of folded clothes into the drawers and picked up some stray toys and books that were not being played with at the time. As I was doing so, I was telling my son about the story of Jack and the Beanstalk for the first time. Now I stood in disbelief as I heard the drawers being pulled open and shut, and rustling of the toys and books being put into their proper places. But I nearly fainted when I heard my son's voice over the monitor. I kept looking back and forth at my husband and now sleeping son in the chair in the living room, and the monitor sitting on my dresser that was literally replaying the specific events from earlier that day. The monitor is a standard baby monitor bought from Walmart and is not a recorder, but instead monitors the sounds coming from the room as they happen at the present time only. I listened as my voice retold the story of Jack and the Beanstalk and listened with familiarity as my son responded in baby talk to the tale he had never heard before. The incredible part was all this happened 5 hours earlier on the same day. I quickly called my husband into the room as he listened to the last part of the story with my voice coming through the monitor and our son's coos and chuckles. He stood stunned and turned his head and looked at our sleeping son flop peacefully over his shoulder. In disbelief, he asks, "How in the hell?" as his voice drifted off, trying not to miss a thing. I just stared at him in the same disbelief, and we both just shook our heads. This had never happened before or since, and became pretty clear from the beginning that we were listening to some kind of warp in time. I never imagined in a million years that I would be witness to it, and must admit, if it should ever happen to you, it is indeed one of the most incredible moments one can ever experience. "Take a seat, John. Why don't you tell us what happened from the beginning?" The detective motioned you towards the chair with a hand gesture, accompanied by his harrowing eyes. I don't remember." "Well, how about you have a sip of water, take a deep breath, and make yourself remember," the detective stated. He definitely wasn't a nice cop. "It started coming back. It took you no time to fall in love with her. From day one, you knew she was the girl of your dreams, the first person you felt you could truly connect with, soul to soul. She was a great listener and didn't judge you on any of your imperfections. She actually liked them, and you believed her. You had met her 4 months ago, down by the train tracks. It's the place you used to go to escape your problems when you were having a bad day. The place had a certain feel to it that allowed you to just forget about everything for a while. She went there for the same reasons as you. You still remember the first time you met her, and how it wasn't even intimidating when you walked over and said hello, despite her utter beauty of blonde hair and perfect pale skin. In fact, she always joked that it was her that broke the ice with you. But it didn't matter. You both had each other now, and that's all that you cared about. You were grateful and very lucky. For a few brief moments, you actually felt happy again, as your vision twirled in memories of all those times you spent together, until the vivid memories faded as quickly as they had formed, and you were sucked back into the cruel reality of what was happening. Sitting in the cold and lowly interrogation room, scared out of your mind. The day police arrived at your door to bring you in for questioning over her death shook your world like no other. That's why you were having so much trouble voicing anything to the detectives who were standing over you intimidatingly. Stuttering and mumbling, you still couldn't believe it, especially when they mentioned she died 4 months ago. I am walking in a thick, swirling yellow haze. Struck with an overwhelming nausea, I sink to the ground and vomit vicious bile. I'm surrounded by figures that are tall and distorted, almost like shadows on a wall. They have elongated faces and their wide open mouths scream that cry out all at once. It is a primal sound of pure fear and unimaginable agony. Their distorted faces stare down at me. They surround me. I try to escape, but they come closer. I awake in a cold sweat. My husband is snoring peacefully beside me. The clock reads 3:09 a.m. I'm home and I'm safe. So why do I feel so uneasy? I convince myself it's just the after effect of a vivid nightmare and go back to sleep. The next day is normal. I kiss my husband goodbye and I go to work. The uneasy feeling never leaves me. After work, I tell my therapist about the nightmares. You're just stressed, he says. The nightmare is nothing to worry about. I don't share his certainty. Despite my fears, I manage to fall asleep at night. The figures wait for me. Their anguish is deafening. Stop it, stop, I beg in a voice that sounds like my own. They scream, wake up. My skin and eyes become the yellow haze that surrounds me. I become their jaundiced pain. My hand and arms are yellow as my bile. The shadowy figure reaches out to me again. Hurry! I awake with a shriek, waking my husband. Another nightmare? Freed from my dream, I cling to my husband. See your therapist tomorrow. I suddenly feel sick, but make it to the toilet. I can't stop shaking. My husband gives me a glass of water. He's no help. Says it's just stress, but something is wrong with me, physically. He doesn't answer. It's clear that he doesn't believe me. I make an appointment with our family physician. The doctors run blood tests and say I'll get the results tomorrow. They seem unconcerned. I tell them I dream about feeling sick, vomiting. I feel wrong, and I'm worried. I'm scared. They prescribe a higher dose of Lexapro, and they send me on my way. But I dream again tonight. I touch the back of my head, and I have no hair. My cheeks are sunken in, and my ribcage protrudes. My abdomen is swelling under my ribcage. I am in so much pain I can't stand. The hazy yellow figure continues to wail and scream. What do you want? Leave me alone, I scream and put my hands over my ears. Nothing drowns out their cries, almost if the sounds are coming from inside my own body. Suddenly the figure moves aside in fear as a shadowy black creature enters the circle, crawling on all fours. I stare into its sunken black eyes and I see pure malice. It approaches me, extending its gnarled black fingers. I watch in slow motion, in too much pain to resist. It reaches down and touches my swollen abdomen. The place it touches turns black. The creature crawls inside my abdomen and the blackness spreads throughout my body until I was swallowed whole. I feel an emptiness, and the world around me fades into nothingness. The cries fade. I awake. Immediately after getting up in the morning, I make another doctor's appointment. I schedule an MRI of my abdomen cavity. The doctors warn over and over again that this is an unnecessary procedure and the insurance won't cover it. I give them my credit card and they do the scan. The doctors return with the results. You have a malignant tumor in your liver. You're so lucky. Usually by the time we detect liver cancer, it's too late. Lucky. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.